I've tried the drug counseling, I've tried the alcohol counseling and these programs, and nothing worked. It's really lonely, and, you feel really desperate. And I don't think anybody can totally understand where you've been unless you've been there yourself. At the moment, where my addiction is kind of almost non-existent.
So, welcome back to the channel. And today we have a very special guest, Denise, who I've known for some time. She's got a remarkable story with her journey with addiction, going from a very, very challenging history, I suppose, to a journey where addiction has just become less and less a part of her life. And it's quite remarkable. So, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And so let me ask you, what was it like when when you first kind of became aware of addiction and drugs and things like that? How old would have you been? Do you remember?
Probably drinking from about the age 15.
Yeah,
And, before you could go to the pubs, drinking on the streets with friends and stuff like that. And then as I
yeah,
was getting older, started going to the pubs. Initially, it was just cannabis and things like that. And
yeah.
then it progressed to a lot harder drugs, amphetamine, cocaine, heroin, and it hasn't stopped, basically.
Well, so let, before we go more into that, your family environment and the environment where the culture where you grew up, what was that like?
It's quite a poor area in the valleys of South Wales, really.
Yeah,
Bit rough and tumble. um, Everyone had to work hard to get anything.
yeah.
Yes, it can be quite an oppressive area, really.
And were drugs a part of that, a big part of that culture, or was it just a minor part? Or
Initially, obviously, when I was really young, I didn't know nothing about it. But it was just when I was growing up, and like all the teenagers were hanging around drinking, and so it started there really before pub age, and but
yeah.
yeah,
And what about within your family? Um,
yeah, my father used to drink a lot.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and so I suppose that means that he would have been your first encounter um, with addiction, I suppose.
yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And do you mind if I ask what what were your family environment was like? Was it like very challenging at times, or would you say, how would you describe it? If someone were just to give a picture
Yeah.
for someone who's maybe, you know, doesn't know what it's like in Wales or where you grew up.
Yeah, it was really challenging, Michael. There was a lot of extreme violence in the house, including my mother and myself and my brother. We were all beaten quite regularly. There was childhood abuse, um, constant arguments with my mother and father. So you always felt like you wanted to shrink yourself. You always wanted to hide away because it felt like you've always done something wrong.
Mm,
No, more so my father than my mother. My mother used to protect us, but when she did, she'd get beaten as well. So yeah, it's
yeah.
challenging.
So, how old were you when that started?
Um, can't even remember any happy memories until my father left. Um, it went on till I was about 10 or 11, and it could have started as far back as when I was 2, because I was in iron calipers when I was born. I had club,
Uh-huh.
so I had to be put into iron calipers. And
Is that the braces for your legs, is it?
yeah, yeah. And I got vague memories of my father being horrible to me then. And then as I grew older, my mother used to tell me what he'd done. as well, so that was quite horrible.
Right. And is this just when he was drinking or at other times?
No, most of the time. Most of the
Yeah.
time. Yeah. Used to be
And
worse after a drink, but yeah, he was emotionally cruel as well. He was just not a nice person to be around at any time.
right. And what was it what was it like with other households in the area that do you remember? Was it similar or different or
Yeah, I lived in a street with just 10 houses, and there was a few families within that street that kind of the same thing was going on.
right.
It's kind of like expected, or it's just one of the things that just happen everywhere around you.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So you, in a way, would it be fair to say that you grew up thinking that that was normal?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because I saw it within my own household. I saw it with families in the same street. Maybe not to the extreme that I had, but or unless it was a lot of it was behind closed doors. I don't know, but
yeah. And yeah, that just sounds really, really, really awful. So, so then you get to like, teenage years and, and so how did, I suppose you mentioned drinking was the first thing that came along.
yeah,
Um, and was that just, how did that happen? Was that just normal kind of like, you know,
yeah. I think it
kids?
started because I was so kind of withdrawn, and you just don't know how to behave at that age when you've been dealing with all that. And when we used to sneak out for a drink, it just kind of made me feel better about myself.
Yeah.
Just made me feel freer,
Uh-huh.
not so no, it was just not so bogged down with everything.
So you could forget about that and you just felt more
Yeah,
confident.
yeah.
Yeah.
And with good company as well, or just a laugh, being
So it was
silly.
fun.
Yeah, you didn't really understand any different at that age. So
Yeah. Yeah. And so then so that just sounds like in a way that what I imagine and what I experience to be a normal kind of, I don't know, teenage experimentation, just having fun together.
yeah,
And I guess the only difference for you is that it helped you kind of come out and, really connect with people.
yeah, yeah. I think you don't even know who you are, see, at that age, do you? And I was
No.
so drawn. It was just, even if you did it out of the way, it was just like that secretive thing. It felt like I had something for myself.
Yeah, yeah. And so you mentioned being withdrawn. Is that the most of the impact that the violence at home had, or was there more?
To be honest, though, it's not until I've been going through these courses that I totally understood what had happened. Because when you're growing up with it, like you said, it kind of feels normal. I
Mm,
didn't know how withdrawn I was until looking back and you see it, where it all started. My childhood, I think, was the start of my total disconnection to who I was.
yeah. And so drinking sort of gave you a bridge almost
Yeah,
to kind of feel confident and normal. Well, I don't know what we say normal, but be able to connect with others and be a bit freer from that.
yeah. It was just like a secret.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It just felt like
yeah.
you had something for yourself.
Mm. So where did it go from there? Um,
Oh, crikey. um, that kind soon led into really quite self-destructive things.
how did that
Um,
happen? Like, was it just everybody, or was
yeah,
it?
a lot of it was the same kind of people all mixing together, and I got through school basically, mm, constantly getting in trouble in school.
We're
Um,
talking Wales in what era? 80s, 70s?
yeah, 70s, late 70s, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Um, and and then when did it progress from alcohol to other things?
Oh. Strangely enough, it was like I worked for a while, but I was always really, I don't know, unsettled. And then
Yeah,
once I got into like going out with girls again, drinking on the weekends, we was taking smoking cannabis, drinking really heavily. But I managed to hold the job down for a good couple of years. But then it got into heavier drugs. I had quite an abusive partner, or very abusive partner, and he got into heavier drugs all the time, um, extreme violence, like having a gun put to my head. I can't even explain how bad a lot of it was. Um, and then
and
it got heavier and heavier, and I was addicted for, what seems
so
like eternity.
and how did that come about? Did it was that something you chose to do? I mean, it's a hard word to say, chose, but I mean, were you forced to do that, or did you feel obliged to do that, or you just wanted
No,
to
I
try it,
don't know. It just felt like, um,
like what everyone did?
yeah,
Yeah,
just felt like the way my life was going, and I didn't really, to be honest, though, see much of an opportunity to do otherwise.
yeah.
Mm.
So so how did you support yourself, I suppose, during that
Um,
time?
when I finished work and I got married, I was also selling drugs as well.
Right.
So yeah,
And so that was the lifestyle, and that
yeah,
your husband was involved in that as well?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So that's how it kind of, um, became a lifestyle, I suppose.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So is there any kind of, particular memories or snippets that you can share that give us a picture of what that life was like? What would a day look like, or what would, you know, 'cau
Every day was really hectic, to be honest with you, Michael. Running around selling drugs, taking drugs, and this would be from first thing in the morning. Many nights I didn't even go to bed because I was taking cocaine. And
yeah,
then perhaps I'd take heroin in the day to calm down and to relax. Then I'd be taking cocaine or amphetamine again. Um, I'd be out picking drugs up, dropping drugs off, um, constantly in trouble with the police, 3 or 4 prison sentences, extreme violence from my ex-partner. I mean, that was like, sometimes it was daily, it was
wow.
awful position to be in. My
And
house, he smashed up, my cars. I've had hatchet pushed down into my neck, kicked so many times in the stomach, I lost a baby.
oh, that's
It's, yeah. And
yeah,
they just like a few snippets of what you will experience was like,
mm,
as it
mm.
was so frequent.
And what was what did you think about that at the time? And was that just the way life went, and you didn't really think much about it, or um, were there other people? Was there like was it there a culture of that you were a part of, or um,
Yeah, I think, a lot of the people I knew were kind of experiencing the same sort of things, especially being so knotted into the drug culture and taking quite heavy drugs. And it just seemed to be happening everywhere. But as much as I hated it, I just felt trapped there. I didn't know
Yeah.
how to get out of it. And to be honest with you, I was taking that much drugs that I just didn't know where to start out or know how to get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So how long did that last, that period?
Um, that one itself about 17 years.
Wow, 17 years.
Yeah.
And how much of that time did you kind of want to get out of it?
I didn't know how to. I always wanted to get out. I tried counseling. I tried um agencies that help you with, your addictions, doctors. I tried everything, but I could never stick to it because I'd go back into the same culture again.
Yeah.
Or every time I left and tried something, I was dragged back into it by my partner. So just felt like that was destined for me forever.
Right. Wow. So basically you tried all the services
Yeah,
to get clean,
yeah,
and either it didn't, it didn't stick with you, or you got dragged back.
yeah.
So how did you end up getting out of that kind of heavy drug culture?
I think what happened is I kind of switched addictions rather than actually quit any of them.
Yeah.
I'm still living in the same area now, but then still taking drugs. I got into another really abusive relationship. So all told, I've been experiencing quite disastrous levels of domestic abuse for 28 or 29 years.
That's a lifetime really, isn't it?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
drugs for about 38 years. Drugs or drink.
So you grew up in, you know, and you left home at about, what, 17? You grew up in a violent, household, and then you moved into a violent marriage, and then had another
Yeah.
partner who was violent, and the culture all around you was the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
So how did you then, you know, thinking about where you were, how did you get to where you are now?
Um, I've been dealing with it for so long. I knew I was at the end of well, basically, by the time I come kick across you, I was drinking myself to death. Um, and I'd split up from my partner for about 2 years. I knew I had something I had to give because there was 2 suicide attempts. I wouldn't go out to the house.
So, how did you end up getting out of the relationship with your husband where you're in the business of the drug culture?
Um, basically, what had happened is he'd ended up in hospital and he was in hospital for a long time. And that was the only time I had the courage to pack all his things and take him to his nan's house because I knew he was out of the way and I was relatively safe. And because he was quite ill, which sounds quite sad, but it was that was the only way I could do it because I'd been asking him to leave for years and years and years, but he wouldn't, and I didn't know how else to approach it.
Yeah.
Um, then I was on my own for about 2 years. I was still taking drugs quite heavily then, and then I met somebody else, and the cycle just started again with the
Right.
violence. I mean, really extreme violence again. Still taking drugs. Um, I just didn't know which way to turn. And
Mm,
I'd abandoned myself so badly, I didn't even think I could get out of there. I didn't even know what to do.
mm.
So,
And so how did you end up, getting from that place where it just sounds quite hopeless at that point.
Yeah, I just didn't care. There was I tried so many times to get out of it, Micah. I tried so many times to find a better way how to deal with the violence and the abuse and all stuff like that. And the only way I got it or felt like I was having help was if I was blocking it all out,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
one drug or another or alcohol or
yeah, yeah.
seemed
Makes
like
total
my only
sense.
escape.
Yeah. So then, how did you free yourself from those heavier drugs?
Um, I just switched from like heroin and cocaine to amphetamine. I was taking amphetamine for years then. My mother died and I stopped the amphetamine, but I was still experiencing so much violence. I ended up drinking then instead. So,
Right. So
and then I
so
got out
that's
of that
where
relationship. So,
so you're drinking. So what level of what was your drinking like then when you switched?
um, crikey. We started off with like a quarter, is it half bottle of vodka? And before I
Like
knew it escalated to a litre a day.
yeah. And then were you still in the relationship, the violent relationship at that point?
Um, I don't think I was drinking a litre a day then. I think I was drinking a litre a day after that had kind of ended. Oh,
Right.
well, after I'd left.
Yeah.
And it was just going up and down, up and down. Every time something bad happened, the drinking would go up until I left. I come to my mother's house then when she died. I lived here. And
Yeah.
I was basically sitting in the house and rotting 24 hours a day, drinking at 5:30 in the morning until last thing at night. I wouldn't go out, only to the shop for a bottle. Um, didn't want to clean my house, didn't want to function, didn't want to see people,
Mm.
just
That sounds
drowning
like
in
a
my sorrow.
really, like you said, abandon yourself. It sounds,
Yeah,
like after what, 40 years really of violence and, you know, drugs,
yeah,
it, you know, that's a long time, you know, and your mum had just died. So
yeah.
that
And
must
my
have been,
brother,
and your brother died.
yeah. And my uncle, all within a period of like 5 years. So I was left
Mm.
with no family or nothing. But
Wow. And did you still have violence happening with the
yeah,
ex-partner?
yeah, yeah, all the time. And when you've lived with it for so long, you just don't know any different. You don't know how to get out of it. And you just every time you just keep abandoning yourself because you think you actually believe you have done something wrong.
Right.
Mm.
So you believe that you've done something wrong to
All the
deserve the
time.
violence.
Yeah. Because that's how you were made to think. When it starts off like really young, that conditioning, and then I repeated the same things over and over again, it just became who I was.
Yeah. And so you, I suppose, developed a view that that was life,
Yeah, yeah,
because that's really all you knew since you were a child.
yeah.
Except for that brief period with your friends having fun when you were first drinking.
Mm,
Yeah. So
yeah.
so at what point in the journey did you meet me?
Um,
And
I
how
was
did
I was a
you, in that state, how did you, how did, what made you reach out or connect, or how did that work? Because sounds like you're in the lowest point almost. I don't know, were you or?
Yeah, I was absolutely desperate, 2 suicide attempts. Um, I just didn't know where to turn. Didn't want even ask anybody for help because I've tried so many things, counselling, I've tried the drug counselling, I've tried the alcohol counselling and these programs, and nothing worked. And then the more things don't work, the more I blame myself and think there's something wrong with me. That it's my
Yeah,
fault that I can't do it.
yeah,
When I
yeah,
met you, I was a litre a day, but I seen your advertisement on Facebook, and the minute I seen it, I don't know what it was. I was like, right, that's for me. That's no, this is exactly how it happened. This sounds like something real, not just a surface level of okay, cut down your drinking or like put you on a prescription medication or a methadone program, which still allowed you to take drugs anyway. But it was just like at the end of my tether, I gotta do something. I seen your advert and I thought, this is it. This is the only way I can see any real change happening to change my mind, to change my
yeah,
program.
yeah. And so, um, and so what was, I don't know, from your side, because I'm in the picture now. I remember, you know, yeah, from my side, working together. And I mean, at that stage, I wasn't aware of all of the history. I
No.
knew that had current domestic violence occurring, um, but maybe if you could just share a bit about your side, how it went for you when you first started engaging in the work we did together.
Well, I was still experiencing quite a lot of threats, still slipping in and out of the relationship at that time. But I just knew I had to change something. I didn't know which way to turn, basically. I just knew something had to change. I
Yeah,
didn't know how to do it. I didn't know where to go to get it. But it was just, I don't know, I was just ready for it, I guess.
yeah. And and so, do you want to talk about, um, what I suppose maybe what made the difference? Compared to other things that you'd tried, like when you got started, what was happening for you then? What were you sort of realizing?
Um, it need, any addiction, I think, needs more than just like a surface level thing. And it
Mm.
seemed to me if this was more than a surface level thing, it kind of, even though I was still drinking so heavily, there was just something inside me that said, like, yeah, this is the right way to go. You could, I don't know, your support, the way you got this commitment to all your clients just made it such a difference. Even though I understood a little about what you were saying, there was just something there that just resonated on a deeper level than, okay, cut
Mm.
your drinking down and how much have you drunk today and
Yeah,
meant
yeah.
that.
So what? So there was something resonated on a deeper level and that gave you trust, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what about what you were learning?
Um,
With this approach about addiction, and the skills and things like that. I mean, how did that? How did you find that when you started to learn the skills, the awareness skills and things like that?
even though I didn't understand the total application of it, there was something there that just, it's like, okay, this is just different. This is it's just a process, isn't it? It was like some of the things I didn't get, but it just made sense on a level that I couldn't really articulate then. It made sense to something inside me rather than something in my brain. Does that make sense?
Mm. Yeah, 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 yeah. And so you started, going through the program, and you started doing the awareness practice. And can you remember how that was?
But it was really difficult at
Because you were
first.
really drinking still quite heavily. So I remember, you would ring me, and we had to develop. We had to sort of just use that. You try and get a little bit of time in the morning. Remember, just after you
Yeah,
woke up, to delay the first drink so that you could do some of your practice skills.
yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
yeah, and then that kind of took hold, didn't it?
yeah, yeah. That was the start of it, that was.
Yeah.
Once I had that little break in the mornings to do a practice, and you realise how what a difference that practice makes to the way you normally feel, that
Yeah.
was really inspiring and made me wanna carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
And so, compared to the life you had before, that little what were you experiencing in that practice?
wow. Peace, um, a break from the clutter that was in my head all the
Yeah.
time, a break from being constantly fearful,
Mhm.
a break from, hating myself, um, just a break from my everyday normal life.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of that normal life is, in a sense, what's alive in your own mind, isn't it? I know
Yeah,
there were real live threats,
yeah,
and that for most people would be just too much, overwhelming. But you had
no,
that going on, but you still managed to carry on with the program,
yeah,
and it got to the point where, um, where you actually stopped drinking there, initially. Remember?
yeah.
For
It got
yeah,
to a
so
point where I'd stopped drinking for 4.5 months, and I like, God is so
and let's
but
just pause there because how did you go from drinking a litre of vodka a day to then not drinking at all, and how long did that bit take?
I can't even remember how long it took, Michael, because it fluctuated a lot, because I still had all these threats going on, still had a lot of violence, the threat of violence going on, and visits from my ex-partner. I think oh, I know, I probably got to the 4.5 months clean when he had stopped performing.
Mhm.
And then when I left and he started again, I went straight back to the drink,
Yeah, yeah.
and it kind of carried on since.
Because I remember there was something like significant events, uh, really traumatic events occurred,
Yeah,
and you weren't yet established enough in the practice
no,
and also in your own inner transformation
yeah,
because it was still very new compared to the 40 years or, well,
yeah,
more really of, you know, the
yeah,
way that you had perceived yourself and the way that you'd expected life to be. It was only
yeah,
these few months that it wasn't quite deep rooted enough yet. And so
yeah,
when he, you know, came, you know, it was quite traumatic for you. Naturally, your subconscious brought back the alcohol as a solution to kind of soothe you.
yeah,
Um, and I know you had to work with that for quite some time.
yeah,
And it was, I think, a little bit disappointing for you, wasn't it? Because you thought, oh, maybe. What did you
yeah.
think then? Did you think maybe this isn't? really going to work just like everything else? Or how did you
Yeah.
put that together?
I think what I thought was, this is my fault,
Oh,
that I can't do this. I went back to the self unworthiness,
self-blame.
self beating myself up. But there was still kind of a faith in the practice because of the inklings and the glimpses it given me throughout the program.
Yeah,
So even though even then I still didn't fully understand it, all I could go by was the changes that I felt inside me.
yeah,
Like then small changes outwardly as well. And I mean small changes, like washing my
yeah.
dishes some days.
Yeah, but that's significant and I remember one time you cleaned your whole house, because you were so clear and you just had so much energy and you showed me your house. It was just amazing. It looked beautiful, like kind of designer, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and you started to get a routine, where you'd go for a walk with the dogs, and, we had this saying like winning the morning,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that became a stable, like, what do you call it, foundation for you.
Yeah, that's right.
So once you were winning the mornings, how did you feel about yourself and
Oh, it was
about your
great.
future?
It was great. It was like, okay, I got a shot at a life of my own now. It was a wonderful feeling. But then I messed up again.
Well, like we said, oscillating is part of the journey
Yeah.
because you learnt, like, this is the thing with the regular approach. It's almost like unless you do it in one shot, you're a failure,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. But in every other area of life, you never get to do something in one shot without making mistakes.
Yeah.
You always have to pick yourself up and keep going, and then you take what you've learnt from that. And I think that's one reframe that you had to really learn was, what did
Yeah.
I learn this time? You know, and each time that the oscillating occurred, cl- being clean and then back to drinking, there was something more that you would pick up and learn, and you wouldn't stay drinking for as long or as much, and you'd come out of it a lot quicker. Do you remember some of the things that you learned? I don't know if you do. When you'd oscillate and you'd then, you know, have to, you know, say, okay, what have I learnt out of this time?
Um, like I said before, it was the feeling that I had inside myself and seeing those changes, those small changes, and
Yeah.
wanting more of that, not wanting
More
to
of
go
that
back.
state of being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So just describe that state for people who don't understand what we're talking about.
It was, I don't know if anyone will understand the way I perceive it, but it felt like home. It felt safe, which is a feeling that I hadn't really had. It felt like all them burdens had gone, even if it only lasted for a couple of minutes
Mm,
or however long. That feeling for me was the farewell to keep wanting to do this more and more.
mm, mm.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. And and so let's like fast forward now to to where you are now. Like in terms of, because you're not you've finished the addiction to freedom program and you're on to the emotional freedom program. So why don't we
Yeah.
talk about, you know, like, because been some massive transformation within you, um, and I'd really love for you to share, some of that.
This is the best, this one. I absolutely loved it, I have. It's so transformative. Um, it's been really empowering. Um, yeah, I don't know, it's life changing and kind of understanding where I've been for all these years and what kind of situation my brain and my body was in and what I was dealing with. And now I can see it all in a different light. My story is different now. I still know what have happened, but I'm not crushed by it anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like I actually got a chance at a life of my own,
Mm, mm.
even though
That's
I'm
so
still
wonderful.
all these threats. It's been, don't get me wrong, I've found it really tough sometimes and really challenging.
Yeah.
But it's the best thing I've ever done.
Mm. And
Best thing I've
some
ever.
of that, s some of that inner work was actually, in a sense, allowing, the traumatic memories and working with those that spontaneously,
Yeah.
um so can can you give us a picture of how you worked with those? And
Um.
what happened?
Right.
Because, the practice is really about opening your awareness to more
Yeah.
of your experience and also more of your inner experience, which means that
Yeah.
normally a lot of these traumatic memories are locked away and then the addiction
Yeah.
kind of takes over. So what we're doing here is opening everything up
Yeah.
so that there can be some
Yeah.
real transformation and then the addiction is not necessary. So in that
Yeah.
process, if you know what I mean, what if you could share about how that was for you?
Well, it started quite slowly because I was, as you was giving us our videos and our instructions and things like that, I'm like, okay, be brave now, let this memory in, let that memory in. But as it went along, these things started to happen when they wanted to, basically. And some of it was really difficult for me, Michael, and, going through a lot of the childhood abuse, um, some episodes of the violence, and, some of the stuff that have happened was really difficult. But the more I let things in and sat with it, the fear I started to feel.
Yeah,
Um, and
yeah,
it kind of freed up space to, you can kind of see where you've come from as you're coming through the program, and it
mm,
all starts to kind of make sense.
mm,
Um, the unworthiness I felt for all my life was something that I'm starting to let go of. I mean, even doing this would normally be outside my comfort zone to speak to
yeah,
somebody about this who've gone, but yeah,
yeah,
it's really transformative. I don't think any of my words would ever totally explain the feeling that you got from doing it, because words come across, but it's the feeling.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like, for, I haven't tasted this kind of freedom from all these things that have held me down for so long ever before.
mm, mm. And it is quite amazing, isn't it? Because, the program instructions and as you go through it, it's not like actively saying, okay, now we're going to focus on childhood, now we're going to focus on this, now we're going to focus on that. We're not saying any of that,
No,
are we?
no,
So it's just
no, no.
that's why it's so individual, because you're just opening up, and then whatever
Yeah,
needs healing comes by
it
itself,
comes up.
doesn't it? At its
Yeah,
own
yeah,
time. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And I guess, the skills that you develop give you the capacity to be with that rather than squashing it back again, you know?
yeah, yeah,
And then like, so can you remember a time when, stuff comes up, and then instead of it, it might come up repeatedly, but then it resolves, right? Can you remember that, what that feels like when it's just now no longer an issue?
yeah. It's just like release. There's a feeling of being lighter, um, feeling freer, um, more energy. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
totally different to, yeah,
And in a sense, what you're really kind of doing is you're feeling deeper into yourself, aren't you?
yeah,
Get deeper into your own natural, I don't know, essence
yeah,
or something, core, and you realize that that is already everything
yeah,
that I
yeah,
really ever need.
yeah,
And somehow, because you go that deep, everything in between just starts to transform, doesn't it?
yeah. And this stuff have been buried and buried, not wanting to face it for the majority of my life.
Yeah.
So actually feeling brave enough to take it on is amazing feeling, because it doesn't hurt you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not going to kill you.
Yeah. But the thing is, before you're ready, like before you go through some of the, I suppose, preparation phase, if you don't do that preparation, there's a natural resistance, isn't there? You
Yeah,
resist
yeah,
going there. You resist looking or allowing yourself to remember or feel anything.
yeah.
But as you get the skills, somehow you don't have that resistance as much.
No,
Your capacity increases.
yeah. And a lot of things come up when they're ready to come up.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, something within you that knows that, okay, you can do this time. It just
Yeah.
comes up when it's ready,
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
having to force anything, and it's just working with it then.
Yeah.
It's sitting with it, seeing it through.
Mm. So when you say working with it, what are you doing? I know what you're doing, but just for everyone listening, what
All
do you
right.
mean by that?
Every time something comes up, um, you keep opening your awareness, and then it comes in, and you keep opening your awareness again. And every time something comes in, whether it's a thought or whether it's an emotion or a memory or any of that, you just keep opening and keep opening. Sometimes the emotions can be quite overwhelming, and I burst out into tears a few times, and the fear can be quite overwhelming. But the more you keep opening up to it, the less power it got over you.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And in a way, as you open, you experience yourself as more than
yeah,
the traumatic memory and more than the emotion, more than the thoughts, don't you?
yeah, yeah. It's like everything is, I don't know, it's like you feel huge and everything is inside you. It doesn't, don't feel so taken off with it all the time. It
Yeah.
just, okay, this is just an experience within this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So your view of yourself and more to the point, your experience of yourself it has totally changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, 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 totally. You know, I still watch the same little issues coming up, but they don't hold me back nowhere near as much now. And
Yeah.
I actually know I'm a worthy person, you know, all those years. I actually know I'm a worthy person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's lovely to hear. I really, I know you're a worthy person, but to hear you say it, is just so touching to me, powerful because I can, it you know, it's just, it's a real healing.
yeah, but I wouldn't have been able to do it without you, Michael, without these courses, honestly, because, well, you've seen what mess I was in. Everything was trapped inside me. I never would have been able to go through this process on my own. And you were supportive, being,
Well, you you had the courage, um, to keep on, you know, taking the steps, even though you couldn't necessarily see where, how it was going to
yeah,
go, but you just trusted and took the next step, always took the next step, And when there was a challenge, we would talk and then you would apply what we talked about. Many, I have many clients in the past that don't apply, that don't take the steps, you
yeah,
know, or and it's don't reach out when there's a challenge, so you can't do anything about it. So
yeah.
I really acknowledge you. You're the main. You're the main. Um, you're the main one who's achieved something here. So you really have achieved something incredible. When you
It feels incredible.
well, it is. I mean, hearing your life of 40 years you know, of heavy drugs and abuse to come out of that and, you know, feel worthy, and actually, feel this. I don't want to put words in your mouth. So how do you feel now in general?
I just know that I'm not going back to that again, that kind of life. And every time I put a step forward, I just feel that bit more empowered.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And I feel, mm, I don't know, blessed.
yeah. And what's your experience of yourself now? What's your view of yourself? Well, actually, more like your experience, not so much the conceptual part, but what's your experience of yourself, particularly when you experience yourself through the awareness practice?
Oh, that's wonderful, that experience. Yeah. It's like, I know this might sound a bit esoteric, but it's a bit like being in another dimension. It is. It's wonderful. It feels like safety. It feels like home. Um, Peaceful. Sometimes blissful.
Mm.
Yeah. All
And
these
and
experiences I've never had before, like really. So
and and content.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and and that contentment, it means that you can let things go. You don't have to hang on to life so tightly. You don't need, you don't have such grasping cravings to try and make things okay because this
yeah,
inner sense is that everything is already okay,
yeah,
you know? And so
yeah.
you don't need the alcohol, you
True.
know?
Yeah,
You don't need so many, many things that, when you look around at all the things that we do, entertainment and, you know, buying stuff and, you know,
Yeah, all to make yourself feel better, really,
yeah,
innit?
it's all about this inner state, but we have this inner state and we don't even access it even when we have all that stuff normally.
Yeah.
Um, so,
Be chasing
yeah,
one
so,
thing all the time and you've got everything in there.
yeah, yeah. And, I know that, there's a lot of kind of like ancient wisdom and things like that that attempt, and have pathways to experience things like this. But usually it takes years and years and years of training and a really calm environment. But you've just had a very short time and a very still threatening environment,
Yeah.
and alcohol on top of that. So, this just shows me the power of our own mind and our own, human capabilities that if we apply it in the right way, it's very powerfully transformative.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
And going through the process as well, Michael, is something that I wouldn't have missed because that's where you get your understanding and your growth comes from actually getting involved with the process, actually allowing it and can be quite, yeah, it's challenging, but
yeah,
it's wonderful.
yeah, yeah,
It really is.
yeah. I mean, nobody wishes the type of life that you've had on anyone.
No, no,
Um,
of course.
but to me, it just shows, the huge potential that really everybody has, to follow in your footsteps. Because if
Yeah,
you can do it,
I look back sometimes and I think, wow, do you know what? All that have happened now seems like, okay, it was worth it. And I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but I can see it, what I've been through, and I can see where I'm going. And I think, okay, I got a better understanding of that. I
yeah,
can take something from all our suffering.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So that it's almost like the suffering has turned into wisdom.
yeah, yeah.
Because we're not just talking about ending alcohol addiction or any other addiction. We're talking
Oh,
about deep emotional
yeah,
transformation and deep transformation of your direct knowledge of what you are.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know I
yeah,
still got a couple of challenges to go, but do you know what? I'm going to face them.
yeah. That's really great. Well, I'm sure that maybe we'll check in on you in a little bit, in the future and see how you're doing. So for now, uh, what are you working on now? I mean, I know, but I want you to tell, to share with others. So,
Um, what in regards my addiction or
well,
court and
yeah,
stuff like that?
where are you at with your addiction now, and also what are you working on within yourself, within your transformation process?
Basically, still working on dealing with my emotions. I'm really interested now at the moment about understanding what have happened throughout this process. There's an
Yeah,
natural curiosity that's fueling me to like search for I don't know, life,
yeah,
experiencing life.
yeah,
Um At the moment, where my addiction is kind of almost non-existent compared to what it was. I've had 3 drinks, just 3 in 3 days.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
on that, I'm still going through quite a tough process, going through court with the domestic violence.
Wow. Well, that normally would be sending anybody, back to drink.
Yeah, that's what my normal reaction would be to hit the bottle straight away. But somehow this time, instead of me getting worse, I'm getting better.
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned something there about understanding what's happened in the process. Are
Yeah,
you talking about psychologically and in
yeah,
terms of
oh,
how the process works with the awareness practice and what it kind of does in detail?
yeah, I want to know exactly what happens to the biology in your body and everything, because I
Yeah. And
know
then,
this transformation is a lot deeper than just your thoughts. It's, you can feel it within your body, you can feel it um in your energy. You can just feel it all over. Yeah,
yeah.
so I want to
Yeah.
know exactly what have happened in my brain because something in my brain. I want to know exactly what have happened in the chemical process in my body. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And in your heart,
yeah,
because your heart is like you're not hiding, you're not shy anymore, you know? You're I know in the community you're one of the people that reaches out to others now,
yeah,
you know? You're one of the people that are supporting others now.
yeah, because I know what this have done for me, and I'd love for everybody to experience this kind of transformation. And, even if it's just their addictions, that, all that, I just want everybody to understand how great this feels.
Mm, mm, yeah,
Yeah. Everybody deserves to have that weight lifted off 'em, that burden
yeah,
that they've carried, and yeah.
yeah, yeah, and it's a totally different view of addiction, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
like it's not one where it's your fault and there's something wrong with you and
no. And that takes a lot of pressure off as well, because this is what we've been led to believe all our lives. That it's a disease, or it's your fault, or it's the substance, or this. And
or it's your upbringing or
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And, you've just
You're
proven all to be different. Well, I have
yeah,
as
you
well.
yeah, you have. You're living proof, you know? Yeah. Well, I
Wow.
feel, that I just wanna really acknowledge you for having I don't know, I think it's courage. I know you've had courage to share your story here, but I also know that you're motivated beyond yourself. I know that from what you said before when we talked, that you're motivated to share because you wanna help others, which you've just kind of talked about there, and I really resonate with that, and I really acknowledge you for that, you know? So I think it's only, it's people who have walked through that dark path,
Yeah.
who really understand.
Yeah. It,
And
it it's really lonely, and, you feel really desperate. And I don't think anybody can totally understand where you've been unless you've been there yourself.
mm,
So yeah, honestly, I recommend this kind of journey to everybody.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. Well, I can't wait to check in with you in in the future. I can imagine. I have imagination about, but on the other hand, we know, that because one of the things that we talk about is becoming more uncomfortable with the unknown.
Yeah,
As much as we want to imagine what might happen, so many different things could happen. So we don't know where you're going to be in terms of yourself or, you know. So I'm watching this space eagerly. Yeah. So thank you so much for, you know, coming
no,
on
you're
and
welcome. Yeah, you're welcome.
all right. Well, I'll see you in the community.
Who's the yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks,
Hey,
Denise.
bye, Michael.
Bye.